The Battle of Cape Spartivento, known as the Battle of Cape Teulada in Italy, was a naval battle during the Battle of the Mediterranean in the Second World War. It was fought between naval forces of the British Royal Navy and the Italian Regia Marina on 27 November 1940. Origins. On the night of 11–12 November 1940, the British incapacitated or destroyed half of the Italian battleships during the Battle of Taranto. Until then, the Italians had left their battle fleet in harbour, using it as a threat against British shipping, even if it never left port. As a fleet in being, the Italian Navy, however, didn't decline battle if given the opportunity. On the night of 17 November, an Italian force consisting of 2 battleships and a number of other units were about to intercept British cruisers and 2 aircraft carriers, HMS Ark Royal and Argus, on their way to deliver aircraft to Malta. The British convoy was warned of their approach and immediately turned about and returned to Gibraltar, sending off their aircraft prematurely. 1 Skua and 8 Hurricanes were lost at sea, as they ran out of fuel well before they could reach their destination. 7 airmen were lost. This Italian success in disrupting the aerial reinforcement of Malta seriously upset British plans for a further convoy to supply the island. The convoy was then rerun, with much more support, including ships from Gibraltar, Force H and Alexandria, Force D. The convoy from Gibraltar was spotted by the Italian intelligence service, and once again the Italian fleet sailed out to intercept it. The first Italian naval unit to make visual contact with the convoy was the torpedo boat Sirio on the night of 27 November. After launching 2 torpedoes from long range, which missed their target, Sirio sent a report of 7 enemy warships heading to the east. Battle. The British, aware of the Italian fleet's movements, sent their forces north to intercept them before they could come anywhere near the cargo ships. At 9:45 on 27 November, an Imam Row 43 reconnaissance float player from the heavy cruiser Bolzano discovered a British squadron steaming to the east, 17 nmi north of Chetib. Shortly after, at 9:56, Somerville received the report of his own aircraft from the carrier HMS Ark Royal about the presence of 5 cruisers and 5 destroyers. The British admiral assumed that these were Italian units closing for battle. Force D had not yet arrived from Alexandria and the British were outgunned, but only 15 minutes later, Force D was spotted and the tables turned. The 2 forces were fairly even, although the Italian ships had better range and heavier fire. The British had an aircraft carrier, which had recently proven itself to be equal to a battleship at Taranto. However, the Italian commander had been given orders to avoid combat unless it was heavily in his favor, so a decisive battle was out of the question. Admiral Somerville deployed his forces into 2 main groups, with 5 cruisers under Rear Admiral Lancelot Holland in front and 2 battleships and 7 destroyers in a second group to the south. Much further south, Ark Royal was preparing to launch a force of fairy swordfish. The Italians were organized into 3 groups, 2 from 6 heavy cruisers and 7 destroyers and a third of 2 battleships and another 7 destroyers in the rear. At 12:07, after a report received from Gorizia float plane, it was clear a battle was about to start with evenly matched forces. So the Italian commander ordered the cruiser groups to reform on the battleships and prepare to depart. However, by this point, the lead cruiser formation had already angled toward the British and was committed to combat. At 12:22, the lead groups of both cruiser forces came into range and Fiume opened fire at 23,500 meters. Rapid fire between the 2 forces continued as the distance between them dropped, but the Italians outgunned the British. 4 minutes later, Vice Admiral Angelo Lucchino, commander of the Italian cruiser group, received order to disengage. Although the battle was slightly in their favor, Lucchino ordered an increase in speed to 30 knots. laid smoke and started to withdraw. At this time, the Italian destroyer Lancia was hit by a broadside from HMS Manchester and seriously damaged, although she was towed to port after the battle. The heavy cruiser HMS Berwick was hit at 12:22 by a single 203mm shell, which knocked out her Y turret, killed 7 men, wounded 9 others and ignited a fire that took an hour to subdue. A second hit at 12:35 destroyed the afterbreaker room and cut power to the ship's aft section, including the remaining aft turret. For the next few minutes, the tables turned in favor of the British when the battle cruiser HMS Renown closed the distance on the Italian cruisers. This advantage was soon negated, however, when at 1300, Vittorio Veneto opened fire from 27,000 meters. Vittorio Veneto fired 19 rounds in 7 salvos from long range, and that was enough for the now outgunned British cruisers, which turned back at the 4th salvo. In fact, as giant waterspouts erupted around Berwick and Manchester, Holland ordered smoke, and his ships fled southeast to close with Renown. Both forces withdrew, the battle lasting a total of 54 minutes and causing little damage to either side. After the battle, Winston Churchill demanded Somerville's scalp, having questioned the Admiral's offensive spirit ever since his objections to attacking the French at Mers-el-Kayakut-Bir. However, a board of inquiry exonerated Somerville, who enjoyed the strong support of several fellow admirals. As for Campioni, although he had a mandate to be conservative, he had presided over the loss of Italy's best opportunity to deal the British a sharp setback in a fleet action. His days of command at sea were numbered. As Licino remarked, the use of these ships, which constituted at that moment nearly all of our fleet's effective units after the blow at Taranto, was decided by Supermarina mainly for reasons of morale, and to demonstrate that our combative spirit remained intact. Popular culture. The battle features in the 1941 Italian film The White Ship, directed by Roberto Rossellini. Order of battle. Regia Marina, Admiral Angelo Licino. 6 heavy cruisers: Bolzano, Fiume, Gorizia, Pola, Trieste, Trento. 7 destroyers: Ascari, Carabiniera, Lancia, Oriani, Alfieri, Carducci, Gioberti. Admiral Inigo Campioni. 2 battleships: Vittorio Veneto, Giulio Cesare. 7 destroyers: Alpino, Basaglia, Fusilia, Granatia, Dardo, Freccia, Sayetta. Royal Navy Admiral Lancelot Holland. 1 heavy cruiser: Berwick. 4 light cruisers: Manchester, Newcastle, Sheffield, Southampton. Admiral Sir James Somerville. 1 battleship: Ramillies. 1 battle cruiser: Renown. 9 destroyers: Encounter, Faulkner, Firedrake, Forester, Fury, Gallant, Greyhound, Griffin, Hereward. Not entered in battle: 1 aircraft carrier: Ark Royal. 2 destroyers: Jaguar, Kelvin, Escort and Convoy. 1 anti-aircraft cruiser: Coventry. 1 light cruiser: Dispatch. 3 destroyers: Duncan, Hotspur, Wishart. 4 corvettes: Gloxinia, Hyacinth, Peony, Salvia. 4 freighters including Clan Forbes, Clan Fraser, New Zealand Star.